All right. What's up, everybody, and welcome back. We've got the winners match here from Group A of the GSL. MARU in the bottom left side, fighting for a spot to get out of this group. Representing, of course, Vitality Gaming, and they were onside previously, but onside partnered with Vitality, so the whole squad now represents Vitality. SHIN in the top right side of the map, who... Did SHIN find a team, guys? Let me know in the chat if you did, actually. I should have Googled that before opening this cast up. SHIN is the 5th best Zerg, who on some days looks like a bit of a baboon, and other days he looks like an absolute genius. I'm telling you, SHIN... What's great about SHIN is that if you try to just play normal aggressive Terran, the man has builds up the wazoo. I mean, he's got so many special tactics that he can just surprise you with and destroy you with, that it's very hard to play against him. And already, look at this. He's blocking the Reaper. He's delayed his gas a lot. Going very quick 3 queens. Tons of drones coming out. I think this might have even been a 15-15 opening. Look at how many drones he's already got on minerals on his natural, despite still having link speed started and a 3rd base on the way. It's just a 3 queen build instead of 4 queen. But yeah, if you just play aggressive, he just kills you. So SHIN he used to be known as Ragnarok, for those who don't know. Oh, he's on Game and Gladiators. That's it. Yes, he got picked up by Game and Gladiators. Thank you guys for pointing that out. That's a rather new team. Asian-based team, I believe. I think they might be Hong Kong-based, if memory serves. I could be wrong on that, though, but definitely an Asian-based team that's... I think they started with a big Dota org, I believe. Lings are on the way. So this is a good opening. So back on point. Vikings on the way after the 3rd command center. So it's just kind of I'm going to deny vision and just play really standard Hellions and Viking. But yeah, SHIN, he will just all in, man. On a dime. You know, the turn of a dime, he'll just go crazy all in. He'll shove you with crazy numbers of roaches or banelings. But the thing is, if he scares you, and very good defense for him. Look at that, he even pulls the weak Zerglings to the left. That was a really good D. If he scares you, he'll play very greedy. So SHIN did really well at IEM Katowice. Part of that was, oh, he does lose a drone there, a little slow on that Spore trick, but link speed will kick in and he'll clean up the Reaper. Overall, loses only 1 drone, 1 Zergling for 2 aliens and a Reaper. Very good defense. But the Viking does deny his scouting, so he doesn't know exactly what MARU's up to. Now, I would argue the fact that there's no depot started at 4 minutes 20 already tells you that MARU has opened up with a 3rd command center. But remains to be seen whether SHIN makes that read. He's building 7 overlords right now. He's so supply blocked. Oh no. So just to summarize, SHIN, great aggression. If he scares you, like I talked to him after Katowice, I said, how did you crush so many Terrans? He said, well, I basically played very aggressive in game 1 and kind of cheesed, and it kept working. I was very lucky. So then all my Terran opponents were very scared going into game 2, and if we got to a game 3 as well, and I played very greedy in the following games. And he made it sound very simple, you know, very just straight strategy, just like, oh, scare your opponent with the aggression and then play greedy in the follow-up. And it's a great way to play StarCraft. And he looked amazing. He crushed Clem. He crushed everyone except Bunny in his group. And it was a mostly Terran group. Bunny barely beat him in a very close 2-1. Now, the problem SHIN runs into is players know that he's so good in the early and mid game that they do tend to wreck him in the late game. But wait, MARU's playing mech? What? 2nd factory, double armory, 3rd factory going down. What the hell? And the Ling sees it. SHIN knows what he's up against. He sees the 2nd factory. He knows that this is Cyclone, Banshee, Hellion, mech. I think SHIN is probably going to go Hydras. Now, I've always said Katowice, Hydras is the wrong play. You need to play Roaches. But that's when you're dealing with pure factory. Because there's a starport building Banshees, he's gone Cloak, he was making Hyperflight Rotors. I actually think Hydras is a good choice. That being said, because he got scouted, MARU cancelled Hyperflight Rotors and stopped building Banshees. He said, it's been scouted. You know what? I've got 2 Banshees out. That's all I need. Let's just focus on the factory units and that sort of stuff. MARU with an insanely fast 4th command center at 6 minutes. But he did hit a big supply block, so he's got to be careful with that. That scan too far forward. That creep tumor is going to be able to respread that creep quite easily. Link's coming in for a surround. Oh, SHIN with a good angle. Doesn't have the numbers to finish it off, though. His queens also weren't really quite fighting there. That was a little sloppy with his queen movement. Hellions going to try to run in. Good movement with the Lings. Blocking those Hellions. Yeah, great defense. Units lost up. Good for Ragnarok, a.k.a. SHIN so far. He starts 1-1 melee carapace, quickly cancels the upgrades and says, screw that, let's go range. He's got a Spire and a Roach Warren. Is he going to play Roach Muta? Roachling Bane Muta is a style you can play against this, but you need momentum. If he ends up on the back foot, you end up investing in a lot of units that don't have longevity. It's a momentum-based style where you catch your opponent off guard. 5 drones go down. Maru playing with the Banshee harass, picking off a few drones on the gas. Very nicely done. Lots of damage. Hellions getting surrounded in the middle by the Lings, though. I think Shin's not too happy with losing those drones, but I think he'll be able to handle it. 4th command center is already floating out for Maru. Interesting that Maru is staying on the left side of the map, not opening that right side up. Hydrogen and Infestation Pit go down, as well as another 8 workers. Nothing but Lings and Queens. Such an efficient playstyle from Shin so far. Vipers is always great against mech, especially if they don't make a bio ghost transition. 7, 8 factories on the way now for Maru. So Maru's going 8 factories. His 1-1's almost finished. He'll no doubt go for 2-2 pretty much immediately. The problem, or not really the problem, but the question is, when does he go mech, or does he try to not go mech? Because at Katowice, Maru didn't play mech into ghosts. That old style that he defeated Serral with once years ago and has looked really, really good with in certain scenarios, he did not play that at Katowice. So even though he played it in the Masters Coliseum right beforehand, he just tried to basically play, I will overwhelm you with masses of mech units and good upgrades. +2 vehicle weapon starts. He did not start +2 armor, which is a very important upgrade against those small, fast attacking Zerg units. I love the Raven in the mix, so he doesn't have to scan for the creep quite as much. Planetary clearing a few Zergans there. 5th command center's on the way. The tanks are building. Factories lifting around. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4 tech labs, 2 reactors, and 2 more. 1 more reactor, 1 more tech lab on those last 2 buildings. Unfortunately, he hasn't noticed that lack of the upgrade, and that is an issue. Hurricane thrusters coming in. Blue Flame almost finished. Banshee's on the left, continuing to be a nuisance. 12 kills on one, 9 kill on the other. Lings come in the right side, but there is no opening there. He's going to have to break that.
Research.
He can't hear it. We're on Maru's vision. He can't hear those rocks, even though they're so close. Sometimes you can hear things just out of vision, but in that case, he wasn't able to. Lings are going to run in on the 3rd base. No planetary there. Maru's army is out in the watchtower. He will quickly pull back the SCVs. Decides to stack those in position, but the Hellions going to bait those Lings out of the way. Shin's not going to find much damage here. Just a few SCVs. The Hellions clean that up. And Maru realizes his +2 vehicle plating was not on the way. We've got Vipers and Hydras. Okay, so Hydras and Vipers can fight decently, but you need Banelings. And he's got Banelings, but no Baneling speed. Without Baneling speed, you can still kind of clear the Hellbats and the Cyclones a little bit, but Baneling speed would make that much easier. You really need Banelings, because if you can't clear the Hellbat Cyclone, the mech army is just too tanky. Your Hydras really can't get on top. Roachling does get pushed back by that siege tank. Great Aspire on the way right now for Shin as well. Shin on 85 workers, Maru on 93. And Maru is making his Ghost transition. Look at that, guys. 2 barracks and a Ghost Academy. So he's going to start heading towards Ghosts and Mass Orbital. I love it. Maru playing to the late game. I love to see it. I don't know if Shin's going to have an answer to this. As good as Shin is in the early late game, if you make this a proper end game with Ghost Mech, 10 orbital command centers, I just don't see Shin being able to break through that. I mean, it's Maru. He's the best late game player in the world. Baneling speed's on the way, and Adrenal Glands. 2-2 range and carapace coming in. Sensor Tower does get sniped down. Hey, good roach hold position. Denies the SCV on that command center, but Maru sends his Banshees to clean it up and sends new SCVs to finish building. Roach Hydra comes in from the left. Vipers comes in from the right. I don't know, man. Oh, good blinding clouds. The Roach Hydra on the left does come in and start doing some decent damage, but attacking just before his 2-2 was done, and I think that was a good fight for Maru, all things considered. Maru is 3,000 resources ahead in the units lost. A couple Zerglings blocking the southern base. Tank's getting a good shot off. Oh, Shin's trying to make more Banelings right now. He's going to jump on top of these units since there's no tanks in range. But even the Cyclone Banshee is pushing him back. Oh, man, this is awkward. Very awkward. He's going to try and come in with Lings. Lings, no good versus Blue Flame Hellbats, but they're very good versus tanks and Cyclones. So they do drag some of the tank fire away. They drag a bit of friendly fire into the Terran army. Queens, Ravagers, Hydra's going to break this tank line. Nicely done. Nicely done. Shin looking fantastic. Those 2 Banshees, I can't believe they're still alive. 17 kills and 14. The 31 kill Banshee duo. We always talk about Banshees being a unit that's amazing if you preserve them. Hatchery gets killed on the right side. No cancel there for Shin. But more tanks coming in. Maru has decided he is 100% committed to this location. 5 tanks, 2 Cyclones, 4 Hellbats building at a time. He doesn't have many Ghosts coming in yet, as extra tech labs do build on his barracks. This command center also did not continue building. Little unfortunate for Maru there. He's still not got that many orbitals, guys. Only 5. Which is not bad, but definitely not exactly where he wants it. 5 Broodlords are morphing. Where are they morphing? Oh, right there. They are in vision. So Maru knows about the Broodlords. He starts building Ghosts. I would expect Thors usually, but he doesn't have a lot of supply. Oh, no Planetary on this right side. That's a very vulnerable base. The whole army's going to pull home for that. A lot of tanks left in the middle. Those Broodlords going to be great for breaking the tank line. Banshee's still alive on the right side. 20 kills and 15 kills. 35 kill Banshee pair being a nuisance. 3-3 mech upgrades are on the way, but they're not there just yet. Here come the Broodlords. Abducting Viking. Doesn't really have what's needed to kill it, though. An awkward fight for Shin. He's abducting Vikings into no anti-air units. Oh, no. This fight is a bit of a disaster, mate. The Ghosts are trying to snipe. There's not that many Vikings, though. The Broodlords are taking a while to die. The tanks are forced to unsiege, and once those tanks unsiege, at least he does push his opponent away. But not the prettiest fight for Shin. 5,000 resources behind the units lost. Maru with some good Viking control. Having a small squad of Vikings is so effective against these sort of Broodlord pushes. The Ghosts do not have a lot of energy. He's finally getting armor upgrades for the Ghosts, which is so important for them to be a little more survivable. And a couple tanks will go down to the Broods. Broodlord's willing. He gets the unsiege. He gets the unsiege, but the army on the ground is so small for Shin. Is this really the smart idea? I don't know. Yeah, there's so many tanks behind it, but he forces those to unsiege as well. Actually doing a good job with these Broodlords. Starting to push this army back. Maru's still up in the work because he's got 5 Thors building, but remember, they're not here yet. The first Broodlord surprise, always the hardest one to deal with. But these Vikings and these snipes combined will take care of those last Broodlords. 10 SCVs go down. Hydra's on the right side getting some pretty good damage. That command center, 3/4 of the way done as well. Hydra's actually getting rid of a few of these Vikings, but he's got to be careful. The tank fire is deadly as these snipes start to come in. A Ravager goes down. Command center does survive. And once again, we've got to check in on the units lost up. 6,000 resource deficit. So that fight, before that last big fight, it was a 1,000 resource loss deficit. Now it's a 6,000 total. Which means, okay, he traded worse by 1,000 resources in the last fight. That's not the end of the world. If he could mine out this base, start getting those forward resources, denying them from Maru, maybe take, if he can mine one of Maru's bases, I think he could definitely win. But as it is right now, struggling to do that. Roach Hydra coming in. Oh my god. Oh my god. EMP does zone the Vipers, the Thors and tanks and Hellbats a wreck. Back into inefficient territory as Neuroparasite starts up. Does he have Burrow? No Burrow yet. 14 Ravagers making. He's going to try and defend with Mass Ravager Hydra. A little bit desperate there for Shin. I mean, Ravagers are technically very good units versus tanks, but they don't do that well versus the Thors or anything. I mean, they're a hit and run unit, but they cost 3 supply. And yet their stats are absolutely garbage. One of the worst 3 supply combat units, the Ravager. Of course, the Corrosive Bile makes up for that, but I mean, in terms of raw stats, they aren't very good in a standing fight. Okay, good Bile spread, though. Does force Maru to just be a bit respectful. A couple of Ducks coming in. Does take out a few of these Thors, not bad. Does get a few Bile spread across the army. I still don't know if it's anywhere near efficient, though. He's 9,000 resources less efficient in this game. Let's take out a tank there on that right side. Rich Gas base is mining, thankfully, for Ragnarok, but if he loses this base on the right, then Shin, aka Ragnarok, will be in trouble. Ghosts, Hellbats, and Thors coming forward. He's looking for the snipey snipes. Does snipe a few of those units. Nice spread on the Biles. Behind this, 6 orbitals have been made. 3 more command centers finishing. Maru is happy to keep trading like this. As long as his army doesn't get routed, he knows that this is a winning play for him in the long run. Especially if any snipes land on these Ravagers as they're disengaging. Oh my god. So many Ravagers getting sniped. But he is starting to break through the tank Thor line. One of the tanks and Thors does go down. A few more tanks getting taken out. The Ghosts, Thors, and tanks being pushed back. The Ravagers actually doing pretty well. Remember, Ravagers are not armored units. So they only take 40 damage a shot rather than 70 from those siege tanks. And somehow he holds on. He's only behind 8,000 resources. Could have been worse. It looked pretty nasty for him, but the moment he broke through, that fight got way more efficient. And this buys the room that Shin needs. Shin really is showing incredible ability to play this stage of the game. I always say Shin's not that fast of a player, but because Maru is playing mech, it's a slower pace where I don't think you really get to see the mechanical disparity between the players. Normally, I'd say Maru much faster than Shin. Shin, one of the slowest top Korean players in the world, but like his ability to handle chaotic multitasking situations much lower. But because it's just slow technical front-on engagements, I don't get me wrong, there's still a very blitzing speed compared to what any of us are playing with, but it's much slower than, say, a Clem vs. Rainer or Biomine vs. Ling Bane War, and it seems to be handling it okay. That being said, gold base is going to go down. Ling's running on that base on the left, only +1 melee, so the SCVs are actually going to beat those couple of Zerglings, but not without taking heavy losses. Roach Ravager coming in on this side. A couple snipes go down, but he does evade some of them. Remember, snipes don't one-shot roaches anymore. They still one-shot Ravagers. Oh, Shin's just run. He's out of money. Sorry, guys. I should have set up for that a little bit more. But I guess he just didn't have a play. He's just out of money. Having the gold base tonight, if we rewind by a few seconds there, I mean, he has to tap out. And it was just a bad fight. And Maru was just being a little bit more cost-efficient in every fight. It expanded to a 10,000 resource loss difference. If you're stuck on just roaches and Ravagers, trying to use a few infestors against mass tank Ghost, it's a very rough spot to be in. So really well played by Maru. I think this map architecture really helped him with this watchtower and this kind of single push path. We'll see if he plays mech again in game 2. All right, guys. Shin got kind of just stuck up against the wall on Alcyon in that last map. Solaris is going to be a better map for him. It's also a 2-Rax Reaper. Now, I regularly say, if you're playing Shin, rule number 1 of playing Shin is never 2-Rax Reaper on the low ground. Because number 1, he's very good at stopping it, and number 2, he's very good at doing all-ins. And guess what? All of your production is exposed on your natural rather than protected up in the main base. So I actually think this is a terrible idea for Maru. That being said, Maru's, you know, kind of famous for making terrible ideas work. He mixes in all sorts of unpredictable play, and he never plays scared of anyone. I just feel like I remember watching Cure against Shin, Clem against Shin. They all kept doing low ground barracks wall-offs. And I was like, against a guy who's one of the best all-inning Zergs in the game, do you really want to give him a very easy bustable wall? Like, it just, to me, it seemed crazy. And those walls were getting busted in Katowice as well. There we go, Reapers pull out. Retreat to the north as well. 2 barracks now, a factory going to be going down behind it. It's factory before 3rd command center. We should see the 3rd CC soon, though. Doesn't even want to hide it, just wants to build it nice and far forward so we can float it down to the 3rd very quickly. He's killed 2 Zerglings so far. Nice grenade. Yeah, he can full circle this. Maru's committed. He has to full circle now. Gets a drone. Gets a 2nd drone. Does lose a Reaper, though. And... ooh. Gets a 3rd drone. Wow, 4 drones is pretty slick. For 1 Reaper, that's a great start. So Shin didn't handle this very well. It's worked out really nicely for Maru. And unless Shin has some sort of big surprise all-in up his sleeve, looks like a great start. No workers on gas. That's what I'm showing you guys right now. No workers on gas means there's no all-in potential. Shin is simply trying to optimize droning up building queens, getting back into the game that way. So, starport in the main, 2 barracks, Hellions building all this stuff. Not a bad idea. Interesting that he's pulling this barracks further back. I guess he wants to have the space to build bunkers and tanks and not have his production too exposed. Oh, 2nd factory, it's mech again. 2 games in a row mech for Maru. Wow. Okay, I didn't expect that. It seemed really odd that Shin kept expanding to the gold base in that last game. Kept having it killed over and over instead of taking one of the side expansions just so he could have something. I do agree. But he was in... yeah, I mean... fighting with just Ravagers into tanks, I know it wasn't my best casting in that last game. I'm sorry I didn't set you guys up for the victory, but I was kind of like, are we just going to keep making Ravagers into tanks and mech? Because once there's like full Ghost mech there and you've just got a few Vipers and Roach Ravager Hydra, it's not really going to work for you. Like, if you can get like 4 Vipers really early and start just ripping all the mech units out of the ground with a duct, you can kill them very quickly. But That was not the case in that game. Now, did the Overlord see the second factory? It did not. So it's the Liberator plus Cyclone production. Hurricane Thrusters is on the way behind it. Spore Crawler is being built at each base, and you can see he's building them to stop that Liberator coming in from the side. Double Evo Chamber. So he's thinking it might be Bio. I mean, this does feel like a Bio build. Maru's doing a really good job of disguising what he's doing. And right now, Shin has no idea. So the very first timing could be scary. On the other hand, Mass Zergling can still do okay. We've seen it surround Cyclone Hellion and do just fine. Hellion's poking in the north. That's a scam. That's going to immediately get replaced by Shin. Liberator comes in and already 2-3 queens and a spore. Good choice to turn around. 1-1 upgrades have started for Shin. He's only on 3 hatcheries. I'd like to see a 4th base, a lair, all those sorts of things start to go down. 2nd gas, 3rd gas goes down. Oh, 1 queen does get caught. Still no idea what's going on. Seeing just 3 Marines there. Is that maybe a tell? Doesn't feel like Shin realized that this is indeed mech. 3rd factory lands on a reactor as well. I've actually been wondering, is it maybe worth it to go Blue Flame instead of Hurricane Thrusters? I wonder what everyone's thoughts are on that. Because yeah, obviously your army's not as mobile, your Cyclones can't keep up, but I feel like being able to blast Zerglings down even quicker is almost just as important. Scan goes down. MARU doesn't see too much there. Shin still seems to have no idea he's up against mech, but actually Zergling just saw it. Let's go to Shin's vision. Shin does not seem to realize he's up against mech, even though he just saw a bunch of Cyclones. I don't think he was watching. The Zergling definitely saw Cyclones. Whether or not he was watching is another story. That's a good surround, though. Oh, but he has to pull back because the other Cyclones do arrive. Queenling Bane is here. Let's go back to everyone's vision. Uh oh, those queens. Queens are in trouble. Gonna try and pull back his Maru. Gotta be careful. He's not letting his Hellions shoot. Cyclones you want to lock on and move very quickly, whereas Hellions take a while. Looks like a few Cyclones got intercepted in the middle. Ling counterattack will be deflected. Shin backing away immediately. Roach Warren only now goes down. Shin's only on 62 workers. This feels perfectly fine for Maru, whose 4th command center is already almost complete. Double armory about to finish. He's definitely not as fast as he was in the previous game with like the double upgrades. 4th and 5th factory going down as well. +2 carapace, +1 range on the way. Infestation pit starts up. Interesting that Maru doesn't cue his builders back to mining there. Neither with that one. So a lot of just manually grabbing workers and telling them what to do, or occasionally selecting the idle worker button. Oh, Ling's in. Ling's into the main and the natural. Hellion Cyclones nearby. But if you're not really crisp, good SCV pullback. And by pulling the SCVs away, they become a lower priority target. They're not attacking anymore. So that's a lot of Lings for only 4 SCVs. And Maru's floating his 4th out. He's putting a Raven. 1-1's on the way. He's doing great. Baneling speed coming in. +1 range, Roach speed, and +2 carapace. Roach, Ravager, Ling, Bane is a pretty good army. But unless he can surround or flank the Cyclone Hellion, it can be very annoying with its mobility, its ability to poke and prod. 5th base and 6th base both going down for Shin. 5th base is up. Cyclone Hellion running in. Remember, there's no Vipers, there's no Infestors, there's no way of trapping this army. But I think Maru's wise to be cautious nonetheless. His tanks are starting to build now. His first few siege tanks being out on the map. I have about halfway done for Shin. Gonna see him transfer most of the workers out of his main. A little bit sloppy with his mouse control. You can see he pulled way more workers than he needed to out of that base. Shin's up above 90 workers. Now, for those who don't know, Shin's special move in StarCraft is making 80 Banelings and then just shoving them on the opponent's army. He has the least aesthetically pleasing style of Zerg versus Terran. It is so ugly to watch, but it's kind of brutally effective. The thing is, that's more of an anti-bio thing. I don't really see that working once the tank count gets past a certain amount. That's why he's probably going to... Oh, Spire goes down, so he's thinking about Broodlords, but Hive's already finished. Going to wait a long time for that Spire to be ready. If he can spread out Zerglings to absorb the tank shots, Bile Siege tanks with Ravagers, Banelings connects with the Hellions and Cyclones, that's kind of the dream. 3 Vipers are on the way. It's 2 Carapace finished. 1-1 melee and ranger done. 2-2 now starting for MARU. MARU's out here looking for a little bit of map control. Shin's just going to jump on him. Good fight for MARU though. 1 Cyclone for many, many Zerglings. Units lost tab 1,000 resources in favor of MARU. And he's going to go for a Ghost Academy and a second and... Oh, he's already got 2 barracks, so just a 3rd barracks. 3 barracks Ghost transition is always nice. Getting closer to maxed out as well. It feels like Shin's just letting the game get too late, though. I mean, we saw Broodlords have some good moments in that last game, but there's already Thors on the way. Like, MARU is preemptively ready for the Thors. The Burrow and the Neural, maybe the Infestors can make some magic happen. To me, this feels like MARU's getting it to the exact same position he was in last game. I guess we could argue the bases are a little bit more spread out on this map. Sensor tower, siege tanks. Oh, Lings will get on top of those tanks. That's nice. But the tanks do clear the Banelings. Hellions and Cyclones get back to defend. Oh, the tank friendly fire actually killed about 5 SCVs there. 9 workers go down. Tanks in the open. Blinding Cloud's going down. Abduct's going down as well. Baneling's going after the Hellion Cyclone. Ooh, MARU a bit out of position. Abducting Thors as well. The Roach Ravager finally going to drop on top of that. The Viper's still running in and out. Yeah, abducting Cyclones, it's not the greatest pick-off, but any pick-off's a good pick-off, as those are free kills. Shin with a very good start to the fight. There's only 4 tanks out right now. MARU getting ahead of himself. He went up to Thors, Vikings, Ravens, and Ghosts without actually having many siege tanks. And that's cost him here. He was too ready for the Broodlords, and now he's lost a lot of units. You can actually see that even though the units lost tab isn't efficient for Shin, remember Shin has 90 workers. If he could deny, say, a 5th base, and there's a 6th base going up for MARU, so he needs to get a move on. There's a dream. There is the dream right now. 4 barracks, Ghost, Hellbats, Vikings, Thors, only 6 siege tanks. And a lot of that army, Hellbat, Cyclone, Ghost, does get dealt with by Banelings. Okay, Viper's coming in. Let's see what he finds. Ling's coming in from the south. I like the Ling wraparound. There's a planetary in this engagement. Tanks exposed on that side. Baneling's going straight through the Hellbats and into the worker line, taking the planetary out as well. Oh my god. That was awful positioning for MARU. It was picture perfect for Shin. Shin just won the game with that fight. This corner, you got to be so careful. So many players get their units caught out in front when they're trying to rotate back and forth. We've seen that for Protoss, Terran, and Zerg. So many players get caught out in those positioning situations. That's exactly what happened there. You got to be the hard thing on this map is if you got too many units down here, they attack the north. When you move forward, your units all get kind of caught in this middle area. That's the big pouncing point for Zerg on this map. Now look at that. The SCVs are just going to evacuate. That's a wise choice. Does get most of those SCVs out. Lings on the north, overwhelming the workers there. The tank and the Hellbats will eventually defend. Back to 4 bases is MARU, and not a moment too soon. MARU was about to get out of control. Tank volley's kind of nice on the Banelings, but look at that. Bile's going down. Baneling's going to take out this planetary as well, and suddenly you don't have any tanks in the backline. Without any tanks in the backline, how are you supposed to hang on? It's easier said than done, mate. Gets that last Ghost as well. Takes out a few more Hellbats. And more Ling's going to be splitting into that northern base. Shin up almost 100 supply. It's a massive advantage for Shin. And it all came down to MARU just being a bit light on tanks, a bit heavy on Thor, Ghost, Raven, Viking, all the fancy tools. And remember, we saw Broodlords in that last game. It wasn't that big of a problem. It was not that big of a problem, but MARU, I think, was just so worried about it. He wanted to be super prepared, and he wasn't thinking about simply surviving in the mid-game. Lings say, thank you very much. Siege tank dragging some fire onto the friendly SCVs. The Infestor ambush that could come in next will be massive. He does have a Greater Spire. A few Corruptors could be good to deal with both the Medivacs and the Raven. Otherwise, you don't have any real mobile anti-air. Single Viper building as well as an Ultra Cavern. Shin's going to try to run in this north side, just picking off some depots and running away by the looks of it. And he's got so many Roaches, though. Too many Roaches, one could argue. Killing the Sensor Tower would be nice. Oh! Oh, he almost gets the Command Center, but not quite. expansion in the south going up. Shin has transferred to the middle bases. So he's both stealing the resources from Maru's side of the map and continuing to siege him here. More roaches and ravagers coming in. He's going to go for it. No, just going to bile down the sensor tower and then back off. And he's thinking about it. And he's going. Siege tanks do get some nice shots off, though. Oh, my God. Oh, mass neuroparasite steals 5 siege tanks. This one tank down to the south was huge. That plus the ghost in the scan actually broke most of those neuroparasites. It was a good first volley. It looked like it would be a game-winning move, but Maru holds on like a champ, and Shin continuing to mass mostly roaches here. I don't know. I kind of feel like a little bit more Ling Bane mixed in would be nice. I think he just held that key down a little bit too long. 35 roaches, in my mind, is too many. I think about 20 roaches is more than enough. It's all about this one tank down here, guys. That tank, plus the few ghosts, because all those infestors were so clumped up, it was huge. Viper's here. Viking's going to go after it. Good choice to pull back. I would have been tempted to drop the parasitic bomb, but he probably would have just landed the Viking and walked away. Hellbat tank looking okay. That Ravager and Roach army does get punished. He's got a big army down here. If he wants to attack this, though, he needs to come from this side. Otherwise, all of his units are going to get stuck on this corner. 9 Corruptors, 2 Vipers on the way. Shin, I think he's taking a bit long. He's got so much momentum, but this remax of Roaches was so awkward. He is mining this base as well. I'd love to see him just transfer his workers off all these safe bases in the back. Try to mine this one out as well. Really force Maru to come on the map, which, well, that's all right. Maru's coming on the map anyway. 91 workers, maybe a bit too many. Oh, good snipes. Does take out a tank with the bile there. 9 Corruptors. You might want to just leave those as Corruptors to fight the air units. I don't know. Biles take out another siege tank. No, it survives. Only 2 Biles went down there. Shin's in trouble. He needs more efficient supply units like Banelings to kill these Hellbats. He's got to kill these Hellbats, but the Banelings are kind of getting stuck behind the Roaches and then shot down by the tanks. Good Biles on the Thors. Does buy himself a little bit of time there. Southern base getting hit by the Hellbat Ghost. He's going to lose every single worker there. Ling, Roach, Baneling pushing through the middle. He's got to cut off the reinforce potentially, but look at how long that tank line goes back. Shin goes around, goes for the third base. Chadhammer on the high ground, though, already has 26, 33 kills. Roach Ravager running in. Will take out maybe 1 or 2 tanks. Parasitic bombs and the medevacs were nice. Broodlords here. Doing a good job of trying to defend. Chadhammer on the high ground, going to defend this base eventually. Southern base goes down for Shin. So, oh, he's going to remax on Ultras, is Shin. That's brave. Looking for just some big meaty A-move units. The Roach does get in there. Drags a little bit of friendly fire onto the other siege tank. But the defense good for Maru. He's only on 38 workers. He's got a giant army. Oh, anti-armor missile, Viking snipes, Thors. It's a great push here, and Shin has gone too far forward. Oh, no. Shin with so much money in the bank starting to get pushed through. That parasitic bomb is massive. That parasitic bomb is massive. He does pull that Viking away from the pack, but it drifts back in there. And he does lose a few Vikings. The Broodlord's going down. 12 Ultras, 44 Zerglings building. One big giant 135 supply army for Terran on the front lines. Ultras are popping out into snipes, into siege tank fire. Oh no. Shin. He was in such a good spot in this game. But now he's in big trouble. Massive Ultra flank comes in from behind though. He's got some Vipers, but no energy on those Vipers. Ultras starting to break the tank line. The Thors were out of position. The Thors were not in the right spot. And the Ultras do break the tank line. Lings coming in as well. Lots of Lings and Ultras reinforcing. The Ultras starting to take out some of the Thors, but they are dropping very quickly. 3 Thors, all that's left. A few Vikings as well, and that is going to be a very important hold for Shin. He cleans it up. The Thor rally is in jeopardy. A few Thors, tanks, and Hellbats out there, as well as some Vikings. Ghost trying to pull to that right side. A few snipes on those Ultras could be nice, but the Lings do break at least one of those. 2 tanks on the high ground, not going to be enough. He killed quite a few of Shin's drones, took out some hatcheries, but Shin still has 3 or 4 full mining bases. He's got a massive, massive income advantage, he says, while pulling up the income tab and realizing it's not the case. Accidental burrow there for Shin. But whenever those mules are exhausted, you can see the income does drop for Maru. Shin has a full base, and another base. He doesn't have his drones well spread, though. A lot of them are long-distance mining because of all that chaos. That's why his income is so low right now. Ultra Ling runs in. He's going to deny this low ground mining base. Roach Ultra on the high ground. Starting to take out these Hellbats and tanks as best he can. The Roach is taking some big splash damage. The Vikings landing. That Ultra on the low ground. Trying to take out all the SCVs, the Mules, and the Command Center. That last siege tank, the last bastion of true firepower. And it does get taken out. Shin eventually deals with a massive MARU all-in counter push and ties up the series. All right, guys, down here at the bottom right side, we've got Shin going for a 15-15. The series is now tied up 1-1. And does MARU play mech 3 games in a row? I don't think this is a great map for mech. I think this map's really good for picking your opponent apart with biomine. But I do know that MARU's kind of conditioned with his shoulder flares up every now and then. And I know that in general, you'll see him playing mech and slower styles. Just really simple timing attacks and bunker pushes against Protoss and stuff like that sometimes. Just because he's specifically trying to make it easier for himself to not aggravate by playing, you know, frantic Clem-style biomine with his injury. So we'll see what MARU opts for, but I definitely think this map is very Terran-favored versus 55-45 is what someone said yesterday in my chat when I was talking about it. I'd said, oh, I heard it was 60-40. Someone said, oh, well, I looked it up on Caligulac, and it's 55-45, Terran favored, apparently. And that's specifically because it's a really good tank spot here. It's a lovely tank spot with, like, Marine spread around it. Especially if the Zerg takes this base. If they can't get rid of tank pushes up on this high ground, it's very hard to deal with. Biomine multi-prong is also good, just because the bases are very spread out, so it's hard for Zerg to cover everything. Of course, if you can just kind of catch, you know, 1 or 2 pressures, shut it down as the Zerg, you can get in control of the matchup and make it look trivial. But we're talking about in an even game, where nothing's gone terribly awry for either side. 15-15, the Queen's out so early, so it's really easy to defend. Interesting that he even bothered to build 2 Zerglings, to be fair. I wasn't expecting that. Usually with a 15-15, they're just happy to do a Spore trick. Maybe 2. Ooh. Third hatchery goes down. Third command center build for MARU. He's going for the reacted factory. Expect the starport to go down momentarily. And there we go. Very standard stuff. Second gas very quick. That's a Banshee opening. Okay, so it's going to be quick cloak Banshees for MARU. Hellion Banshee, about the most stable, well-rounded opening you can go for as a Terran player. He let that Reaper get hit. That Reaper's going to die. Oh! Or not. Very well done. 2 hit point Reaper. Nice. Third hatchery's there. Natural is already saturated and putting back on gas in the main. Shin's had a smooth opening so far. Off of that 15-15. Tech Lab almost finished there. By the time the starport moves over, it's pretty much ready. But, oh, we're going Viking. Are we just playing mech again? Is that why we took the second gas? Because Viking into Banshee is incredibly rare. Oh! Oh, he's going to do a Marauder Hellbat attack. MARU is doing a Marauder Hellbat attack. Or Marauder, as I believe Cyril calls it. He's building a lot of Marauders. Hellion Reaper coming down. So he's going to try and disguise this. This Overlord's perfect timing, though, to potentially see it. No Marauders have built yet. Oh. Oh, he was faking it. Oh. Ah, Maru's like trying to fake it, and now he kind of fumbles it, and he's like, ah, screw this, whatever. And he does go Viking into Cloaked Banshee. Okay. Yeah, I don't think Maru's too happy with how that went down. He's like, look, I'm upgrading Concussive. He cancels it, starts to swap. Overlord comes in. He's like, quick, swap it back. Mislands it. Makes it blatantly obvious that he's just trying to play mind games. And ends up just saying, okay, fine, I'll just do the normal thing. So the Reaper Hellion's bouncing around between the bases. We've got Lair, 51 drones, 6 more building. 4 gases right now. Second factory's coming up for MARU. Playing mech once again. Do we see Hyperflight Rotors this game? The 2 Banshees just with cloak, no speed, did amazing in game 1. Look at that, though. Shin's like, well, you know what? Fool me once. Shame on me. Fool me twice. Shame on you. Did he also see the factory building, or is that just him seeing the starport earlier? Not quite sure. Either way, I think he knows exactly what's up. He's going to build a spire. And he's using it to semi-wall his natural, which is bizarre. I mean, you can build Corruptors if they go for lots of Banshees, I guess. Just get a few Corruptors or Mutas out. Muta swaps can also be very good if your opponent gets too stuck on Hellion tank. But since Cyclones are almost always mixed in, I think that's going to be tough. Fourth base is there. Roach speed starts up. Hurricane thrusters on the way. Double armory. Third factory is now ready. It's going to be double tech lab though. That's different. He's already building siege tanks. Ah, so I think MARU is very wary of his opponent SHIN hitting some sort of big roach timing attack. Double armory. Engineering bay goes down reactively after he scans the spire. Double Evo chamber infestation pit. Banshee's floating into that main base. 2 queens and a spore waiting for him. MARU dives with the Hellions. Oh, SHIN says, you naughty boy. He's going to get a pretty good wraparound on most of these Hellions. And there we go. Already 3 or 4 of the Hellions go down. Those Lings on the top do a nice wraparound, but they are all damaged. And MARU's micro, nothing to scoff at. He's going to take out a lot of these Lings. Still think it's worth it for Zerg anytime you can deny the Terran map vision, but he actually moves away. We were talking about this earlier. Why do pros ever right-click? Shouldn't you just always A-move? So you don't accidentally like move command into your opponent's army or leave units behind. But overall, equal units lost, always good for the Zerg. Muta's coming out, so he's going to try and run with Mutas, but there are turrets there. Oh, he sees the Mutalisk as well. MARU with a 300 IQ scan. And it's Hive and Hydroden, so he's going to go Lurkers. SHIN, what are you doing, mate? Are you going to... Lurkers are very good. I mean, don't go Hydra Viper. I'd like to see Lurkers. They're very good at dealing with the Cyclones, the Hellbats. They've got 10 range, not that far off a siege tank. They pair really well with Lurkers. I mean, Roach Hydra Viper's okay, but it is a momentum style. You kind of need to keep that pressure up. Nice. Engage. Gets the turrets just before they finish. 2 SCVs and a few turret cancels. Always worth. Gets that extra turret killed and the SCV trying to build it. Give you some nice map control, some good vision as well. MARU has 4 bases up. Turrets covering everything. Sacrifices a Mutalisk for an SCV. 3 Vipers on the way for SHIN. He's going to make a Great Aspire as well. 5th base now coming up. He would love to have 5th base gas. Building Hydra Viper is so gas heavy. You've already invested in Mutalisks as well, another gas heavy unit. 1-1 did finish for MARU. +2 vehicle weapon starts. Trying to start more factories as well, but he's very gas starved. So 5 factories, +2 vehicle weapons. MARU hopefully remembers to go back and start +2 armor, which he's been very good at so far in this series. Banshees fly to the right. I don't think he saw it. Overseers and Hydras are here nonetheless. Picks off a Marine, damages a Viking. Does lose another Mutalisk for that. 1-1, but no 2-2 just yet. This is what I was talking about with the gas, guys. If he took this 5th base earlier, he could already have that gas mining. That's actually costing him not having his extra upgrades. Like melee upgrade and +2 range are very important right now. Carapace is only really important for stopping the Cyclones from doing damage. Not as important against things like tanks and Thors. Nice. Mutalisk harass, though. Once again, denying the barracks. That also tells him there is a ghost transition underway. SHIN's only at 76 workers. He's looking to have a big army. He finally does start that 2-2. Another SCV goes down. Oh, the Muta's not being microed. It's because he's attacking the front. He abducts a few siege tanks in. Roach Hydra does very well. There's only 1 tank on that left side. More tanks coming in and sieging up. The Cyclones did start to fall. I like that the command center gets picked off. He does have to fall back. Don't want to be there too long. Mutalisks actually beat the turret in the main base. MARU didn't repair. Oh man, MARU did not repair. That is unfortunate. These Mutas are actually doing so much damage. I can't believe it. MARU maybe trying to transition into those ghosts a bit earlier than he needed to. Not having enough tanks on that front 3rd base. And he takes massive, massive damage. Hydra Roach coming in. But if he's going to do this, he should probably try and dive the planetary on the south or Maybe wait for those Vipers. Only 2 Vipers. He's just going to get 2 Blinding Clouds and go again. No. There we go. Good choice to be patient here. Dude, if he could drop in the main or like Nidus or something right now, I do think he could kill him. The fact that he's still massing Roaches reminds me of game 1 though. What are you going to do with mass Roaches? Game 2 as well, to be fair. He kept overbuilding Roaches. They're a cheap unit. They just don't do much damage. And right now you're on a timer because if MARU maxes out... I mean, yeah, you killed a lot of workers. He's back up to 77. He's got a fearsome army of tanks and whatnot coming in here. 3 tanks, 4 tanks get abducted. But he loses both Vipers for it. He's going to build 10 Corruptors now. That Banshee is almost out of energy. It's up to 5 kills, though. Not too bad. Going to come up the north. I like this move. Any pickoffs are very high value for you. You're willing to throw some of your units away as SHIN. Not too many. But you're definitely willing to throw away some of these units. Especially, say, denying the gas mining of MARU. 2-2 for MARU. 2-2 about to finish for SHIN. +3 vehicle weapons and personal cloaking for the Ghosts already on the way for MARU. MARU's building 2 more command centers. Extra SCVs on these gases as well as the building refinery gets picked off. It's not cheap though. Many Roaches going down in these trades. This southern base has no support. If he was able to sneak in here with like 40 Roaches and Hydras, he could kill it. Just this army, he can't. Roaches in the north run away. Roaches and Hydras running on the south, kill the sensor tower and do back off. 9 Broodlords morphing in the center of the map. Make it 10. Still no melee upgrades though, which means the Broodlings are going to do almost no damage. The main function of the Broodlords will be to make the tanks friendly fire each other, so that's going to force MARU to unsiege. Or if he's really good at target firing, say, Roaches, he can make sure that they are shooting that instead of the Broodlings. Roaches pulling to the north. Roach Hydra comes in. SCV goes down. Sensor tower does get cancelled. Not a bad play, just sending a few Roaches behind the mineral line to be a nuisance. It's going to be as annoying as he can. 7 more Corruptors are building. Still no melee upgrades. No flyer attack upgrades either. I have to question SHIN's upgrade focus. He's also so short on gas. And this is why when you play this style, I would have loved to see him get a 6th base up with gases a bit earlier. The 5th base itself, I think, should have been 2 minutes earlier as well. But of course, that's assuming, you know, the game's going to go this way. Did he know the game would be this slow? Once he realized it's mech, I think he should have. Queens on the front line. Got to be careful with those queens. Nice transfuses on the Broodlords. Corruptors coming forward as well. He's going to try and break this position, but the tanks are not unsieging. The Vikings and the Thor starting to clear these Broodlords. The Queen's transfusing okay. Oh my god. Broodlords starting to fall. There's so many Vikings. The Corruptors have to just commit into this, but there's no Broodlords left. There's only 2 Broodlords left. The Thor's doing so much damage. And look at the way the Vikings pull back, saying, hey, let's let the Thors, the Ghosts, basically do a ton of damage. So if you want to chase into this, that's going to be a problem. Now the tanks are kind of derping around a little bit. The last Vikings do get picked off though. Unit loss tab I think is maybe decent enough for SHIN to do it with a remax. SHIN's making +3 range, but still no melee upgrades, which means his Zerglings are nearly useless. Nice P attack on the command center. 2 snipes do take out 2 Corruptors. The Thors get there. Oh, this is so expensive for SHIN. If he doesn't get the kill, it's not worth it. Oh, he gets it! He gets it! Big move, big move. I think that's okay to lose the Corruptors if you kill that 5th base, which he does. Corruptor's going to try and rotate into the main base as well. Behind it is Roach Hydra still. An army which I don't have the biggest faith in, but I do think if he comes down here, stacks up his whole army outside of Sensor Tower range, runs in, he can kill this base before MARU can respond. Likewise, that northern base is a little exposed. Problem right now is he's in vision. And I don't know if SHIN even... He's not even thinking about that left side. He's so focused here. Oh, if he can catch him in the open, this could be big. Blinding Clouds. Big Blinding Clouds all over the Thors and tanks. This is a massive engagement for SHIN. Oh, MARU caught in the open. And just like that, SHIN is going to jump on top and destroy so much valuable siege tank Thor in that army. The Roach Hydra doing very, very well. A great fight for SHIN. And that should be game-ending damage. He's got mass Roach remaxing. Ghosts and Thors trying to pull back. SHIN taking MARU out here is such a huge upset in the winners match of this group stage. Getting the first spot in this group is absolutely huge. MARU's not done yet, of course. He's lost 16 workers, but he had such a high worker count. If he can hold the top, top's not even a planetary. Oh, the Hydras are kind of walking in right there. They're attacking a specific tank rather than killing what's next to them. Bit of a messy trickle-in attack here for SHIN. I say a bit of a messy attack. That was a kind of awful attack. The Ghosts come down and really punish him. He does finally take out those 3 siege tanks, though. He's got more roaches coming in. The ghosts are forced to pick up. And if he gets rid of this mining on the top base, that is all but game over. MARU just does not have the money to continue. He is up 3-3 versus 2-2 upgrades. But as I say, that +3 range kicks in. This is the Corruptor from earlier. Unzips his fly for the second time. Look at the length on that stream. I remember being in year 2 in school, and there was a kid who was so proud that he could pee all the way above the urinal up on the window. And yeah, this is that kid, I think. Damn, that was a super long stream. Anyways, Command Center up the top is going to try and float back. Shin's got complete control of this game. Roaches, Ravagers. He's got Infestors with Burrow coming in for the ambush abilities. I'd like him to just leave 1 or 2 units up here and really deny these southern bases. It's probably time to rotate. Oh, he attacks into a choke point. Tank's getting some very big shots off. Nah, not a good attack there for Shin. He loses a ton of roaches for very little value. He's got to keep using that mobility, break these rocks, move down south, and keep denying the top with just a little bit of harassment and try to get down there. Lings are going to come in and deny this base. Overlord's taking a dump as well. Still up 50 supply, but Shin is trying to do it with a very basic army. And interestingly, no more Vipers anymore. I want to see him use some really clever movement. Oh, the Infestors get scanned. The Infestors get scanned. MARU knows what's up. MARU trying to defend all 5 bases seems crazy right now. The Infestors are coming in the front. Even just neuraling that tank and letting it shell whatever else it can see. Not a bad idea. He's going to neural 1 tank. Accidental unburrow, I believe, there from Shin. He does throw a few more tentacles into those siege tanks, but not a pretty attack angle. The biles aren't really landing on top of that. The Hellbats are falling, though. Oh, I think it's enough. Shin's breaking through. He's breaking through. The last few tanks are falling. Once again, what are we left with? A few ghosts, a few tanks from the rally point. If these roaches and hydras just move north, out of tank range, they can deny these SCVs will be big. This tank on the north actually causing a lot of problems, just like that last fight. It's the random tanks in the north that the retreating units stumble into. Tail end of that fight, a little inefficient. Shin is on a massive advantage, though. Look at the income, 3,300. As long as he keeps transferring workers from his early bases, which he's done onto these newer bases, he's got a massive amount. Now, Broodlords would be an easy finishing blow at this point, because there's no way MARU is going to get up anything other than Ghosts to deal with Broodlords. But remember, he doesn't have any melee upgrades, so things like Lings, Broodlords aren't that effective. No Adrenal Glands or anything like that. So it is kind of just a Roach, Ravager, Hydra, raw numbers all in for Shin. Snipes will land. Biles across the SCVs take out a lot of these repairing SCVs. It's a good decisive move. Not many tanks in range. I love that fight for Shin. And look at the arc of units he's got. MARU desperately trying to hold on. Unfortunately, some of the Ravagers are attacking buildings right now. But as the spread comes in, tanks, ghosts, command center falling, 16 workers going down. MARU was holding on like a champ, but there's no way you bring it back from here. He is just mining out right now. His income is down to 1,200 minerals a minute. He's just constantly trying to get up here with tanks and Hellbats. His tank positioning is good. The ghosts getting some good snipes. But Shin has figured out the winning formula, which is more stuff beats less stuff. I'm going to keep attacking, and I will overwhelm you. Even though a few of his fights have started bad, he's always had the numbers to just barrel through. This tank positioning is hard. Unless he runs up with Ravagers or a Viper, if he runs around this corner, for instance, these tanks could absolutely rip him to shreds. I still don't know why he's not attacking the south. Tanks getting some good shots off on these Roaches. Roaches not able to kill even a single tank there. Oh, I think it's pullback time for Shin on this one. He's going to try and deny mining up the top, but he's only going to get a few SCVs. So not a good fight there for Shin at all. 11,000 resources lost by, and he's still just massing Roaches. I'm surprised he's not making Broodlords or something. Because like the thing is, he doesn't need to kill him. He can keep taking gases and bases and transition and add melee. He's adding a Baneling Nest now. He doesn't have any melee upgrades or Adrenal Glands, though. Shin's building 7 drones right now. Realizing that his money's a bit low. I like that he's stacking up here. I wanted to see him break these rocks and kill this base much earlier. I still think killing this base would be a massive victory. And there's no way he can defend it. But we are just massing Roaches as MARU slowly moves forward to the next base. MARU's only down 20 army supply. His economy kind of sucks. But as he gets a new base mining, he should be okay. SCVs are just evacuating. Look at that. He knows he can't defend, so he just gives the base up. That's a very mature decision-making from MARU. Careful of the snipes. Snipes are always a problem, man. You don't have anything to close. A whole bunch of Ravagers do get sniped down, as well as a few Roaches. 10,000 resource loss difference. MARU's supply is somehow hanging on. What's his income? Less than half. I mean, Shin's definitely building those extra workers when it was not necessary. But he's actually mining out his side of the map so fast. He's got to be a little careful. Oh, here we go. Roach is trying to run forward. Does pick off a few of those units. Gets a few more Hellbats here as well. Nicely done. Melee is finally on the way, as well as the ship weapons upgrades. Viper's here. Also, Blinding Cloud on one of these tanks. Abducts another siege tank. I think it's actually a really good fight for Shin, especially with the triple bile on the tank and the disengage. That was a lovely engagement. Picks off a bunch of valuable units, but he's still on a mass Roach army against tank Ghost, which does counter it. I mean, Ghost snipes are brutal against Roach Ravager, and it's just a constant tank rally, +2 armor on the way for the bio. Going to try and make those Ghosts a little more survivable. We are seeing Vipers gathering more energy. There's one Viper, 4 Infestors out. He's got a flank with the Infestors, but there is turrets up. So Maru's actually ready for this. Maru's even pushing. The Mad Dog Maru is actually pushing. Baneling's being forced to fight pre-Baneling speed. Oh, if they had Baneling speed, they could have got on top, but instead, the tanks clear them, and the Roach Ravager has to fall back. Oh, Shin trying to rebuild Roach Zergling right now into those Banelings to see what he can do. These Infestors, he knows there's turrets nearby. If he moves them a little further north, he could definitely steal one siege tank in the middle of a fight, but instead those Infestors do get caught. They get taken down. Drones on that right side getting taken out by Hellbat Ghost. Shin should have the numbers to clear this this army over here. He doesn't have the anti-air to necessarily bot those medevacs. He's going to go in and try to engage. Banelings are going this way. Fungal does not land. EMP does block that. This is such a risky move for Maru to be out here, but he saves all the Ghosts, kills the hatchery. I cannot believe it. That was cavalier. That was absolutely ridiculously dangerous, but Maru gets away with it. Now Shin's going to go in with another wave and try to get through. The Banelings have not connected once in this entire game. His Banelings have been less, not useful really at all. That tank on the south finally goes down. The Roach Ravager going after the Ghosts. They're going to take out 1 or 2, but only 1 or 2. Luckily, these tanks on the south do get caught as well. Shin is still up 50 supply. It's mostly Roach supply, so it's not amazing supply. Losing that base was a big bummer as well. As long as he keeps adjusting his economy, put on gas, transfer to the bottom left, he can do okay. But remember, it's only +1 melee, no adrenal glands. These Zerglings are very weak. Zerglings coming on that north. That's a good run by if he gets on the tank of the SCVs. This is big. Massive move here for Shin. Oh, Maru has been hanging on like a champion, trying to make an amazing comeback here. Shin's making it very difficult for him. But dude, +1 melee against +3 armor siege tanks. They do 6 damage. The tank has 4 armor. They were doing 2 damage and attack to it. That is why that looked so crap. Shin has to fix his upgrades. If he doesn't make +2 melee and adrenal glands, he should not be making Zerglings and Banelings pretty much at all. The Banelings, some of them's okay, but it's a very low tier army for Shin because of those upgrades. Here we go, Ghost Hellbat coming in, siege tanks trying to siege forward as well. Oh no, Shin trying to run drones away. He's going to lose another mining base. Maru's side of the map, because he's been under siege so much, has not mined out that fast. Still a few minerals there, a couple there, a couple up there. He's also snuck an orbital on this side, which even a few Zerglings could deny. Oh, Shin does jump on him. Blinding Cloud catches a few of these units, but he hasn't had the anti-air to deal with those medevacs. Oh, Infestors. Oh, he tries to unburrow. Does save one of the Infestors. A few tanks do go down, which is kind of cute. Shin is still up 60 supply. Can you believe it? He's not got a big worker advantage anymore, though, so the next fights are going to decide this game, most likely. If he can get a good fungal or 2 on those Ghosts, it could be a game-deciding fixture. The Lings run in, but once again, look at how little damage they do, guys. Oh, here we go. Roachling tries to run in the front. Remember, these Lings don't do damage. Roaches are not damage dealers either. Nothing in Shin's army does damage. Even with +3, Roaches are just such a low damage unit by default that it does not matter. He's got nothing that can kill the Hellbats and the Ghosts, and that is unfortunate. Maru looking to make an epic comeback. He's spreading, he's EMPing, he's sniping. Tanks getting abducted. The Ling Roach trying to hang on. It is still such a close game. Maru with amazing upgrades. Shin with the numbers. He's still got Lings on the backside. They're getting cleaned up by unsiege tanks and Hellbats. Ghosts on the high ground are going to try and maybe snipe some of these Roaches from up here. The orbital on the left is in trouble. Tanks trying to siege. There's Hellbats there as well. SCVs are going down all over the shop. The Roaches jumping on top of those tanks. A couple of the tanks do go down. Ling starting to tear apart the SCVs. Another tank so close. It does go down. And 26 workers falling. That's massive. Shin is mining from the bottom left, but he's still not put on gas. He hasn't transitioned to that base either just yet. And these top 2 bases being denied is absolutely crucial. He's taking a second to fix his economy now, but still doesn't have any workers on gas. He's building just Zerglings right now. Oh no, he's in panic mode. Look at his APM. Shin has been frantically spamming clicks. You might be like, Pig, didn't you say he's not that fast? This is not good APM. This is Shin literally spamming buttons mindlessly right now because he's panicking. There is no way he's effectively playing with 600 APM. That's a lot of him just holding buttons down. Oh. Dude, the +1 melee, no adrenal zerglings are nearly worthless. He finally puts on gas down here, takes new gases. But he's just thrown away all of his units. He needs more lings on this base, and to actually get a proper army together of roaches, ravagers, banelings. But he just doesn't have it. And that is MARU fighting back from infinitely behind. I can't believe he brought this back. MARU is so calm under pressure. So many players make more mistakes when they're behind because they feel that pressure. When MARU's under pressure, he just kind of goes, I'm probably dead. He just he giggles to himself. He just goes, whatever, I'm just going to keep doing the same thing I always do. Play perfect defensive Terran. And what an incredible comeback. The units lost tab is going to be horrific. 23,000 resource loss difference. And one of the most epic comebacks. Oh, it's unfortunate, but in the heat of this game, you think, I've got MARU, I'm beating MARU. I know I am way ahead. And Shin got a bit too one-track minded. He took way too long to rotate his army to the south and kill this base that was a free kill just sitting there for a long time. He forgot to get any upgrades for melee, and then he eventually only made one of them. Didn't get adrenal glands either. And of course, his spellcaster usage, there was big gaps where he was not rebuilding Vipers. Meanwhile, MARU, what did he do? Spread your tanks, spread your Hellbats, spread your ghosts, keep reinforcing, keep sniping, keep AMPing. Just really good positioning all game long. And I think he just did a great job of fighting back from a nearly impossible position. It reminds me of MARU versus Reina, when Reina was miles ahead of him in the group stage a couple of years ago. And MARU refused to die for another 10 minutes of some of the most epic mech defense, much like this, where he was down 70 supply versus Reina, and Reina could not kill him. So no shade to Shin here. MARU is the king of making these comebacks. He does it all the time. But it is unfortunate, as Shin definitely looked like he had his moments in this series. Could have taken this out, but just couldn't quite dance with MARU in the long, drawn-out, high-pressure moments. MARU remains the comeback king. GG, well played.